Welcome to Planetarium Dreams, a gentle place for rest, slow wonder, and quiet journeys through the universe. This channel is made for drifting minds, for long nights, and for moments when the world slowly fades away. Here, we explore space without urgency, guided by calm voices and stories designed to dissolve into sleep. If these peaceful journeys bring you comfort, you are softly invited to become a member of the channel, to support Planetarium Dreams, and to unlock extended voyages across the cosmos. But for now, there is nothing you need to do. Allow your breathing to slow, feel the surface beneath you, and let your thoughts grow distant. Tonight, let us drift beyond stars and silence and travel through our vast galactic home. The Milky Way. The Milky Way is not something you arrive at suddenly. You have always been within it. It is the galaxy that holds your sun, your Earth, every night sky you have ever seen. A vast, slow-moving structure made of hundreds of billions of stars, all turning together in a calm, ancient rhythm. From inside, the Milky Way does not look like a spiral. It feels like depth, like layers of light and shadow stretching endlessly in every direction. As you drift deeper into this awareness, the sun becomes just one star among many, still warm, still steady, but no longer the center of attention. This shift is gentle. When the familiar grows smaller, urgency softens. The mind releases its need to organize, to plan, to anticipate. Thoughts slow, not because they are forced to, but because they are no longer needed. The Milky Way stretches across space like a quiet river of light. Its glow is soft, diffuse, never sharp. It is brightest where stars gather closely, dimmer where space opens wide. Nothing here demands focus. Stars are born, stars age, stars fade, all without sound. The galaxy has been turning for billions of years, long before Earth formed, long before life began, long before thought existed to notice it, and it will continue turning long after this moment dissolves into sleep. This knowledge does not feel heavy. It feels freeing. You do not need to hold the world together tonight. You do not need to keep anything moving. The galaxy already does that. Gravity holds everything gently, not pulling, not pressing, simply allowing stars and systems to follow their paths without resistance. This gravity does not rush. It does not fluctuate. It holds with quiet consistency. Like rest, sleep does not arrive by effort. It arrives when effort leaves. As your breathing slows further, notice how the body responds naturally. The jaw loosens, the shoulders sink, muscles soften without instruction. The mind begins to drift in wider loops. Thoughts appear, then fade before completing themselves. Images blur. Sensations grow distant and comfortable. You are not falling asleep. You are being carried toward it. The Milky Way does not ask to be understood. It does not require names or measurements. It simply exists, and you are allowed to exist within it, quietly, without responsibility. Stars surround you now, not as points to count, but as a collective presence, a soft field of light suspended in darkness. No edges, no center, just continuity. There is no direction to choose, no pace to maintain. The journey is already underway, and it does not require your attention. Remain here, breathing softly, held by the galaxy. Your body is resting more deeply now, supported without effort, breathing slow and quiet. There is no need to listen closely. The words can move gently around you, like distant light passing through space. The Milky Way surrounds you, vast and steady, and within it, the familiar region of the solar system begins to soften and recede. The sun remains behind you now, still warm, still steady, but no longer the center of attention. Its light blends into the greater glow of the galaxy, becoming one presence among many. Leaving the solar system is not a moment. It is a gradual easing. There is no edge to cross, no line where one region ends and another begins. The influence of the sun slowly loosens its hold, not suddenly, but gently, over immense distances. Planets continue their orbits, unchanged by your departure. Earth turns quietly. The moon follows its familiar path. Nothing notices that perspective has shifted. This is comforting. Nothing depends on you being here. As awareness drifts farther outward, the space between planets grows wider. Motion becomes slower. The sense of speed dissolves into stillness. Distances stretch until they lose meaning. Beyond the outer planets lies a quiet region filled with remnants of the solar system's birth. Icy bodies drift patiently, following wide, ancient paths. They move so slowly that change becomes almost invisible. These distant objects do not rush anywhere. They wait. Farther still, the solar system fades into a vast halo of silence. The sun's gravity weakens, and space opens into something broader, softer, less defined. You are no longer within a single system. You are between stars. Interstellar space is not empty. It is simply spacious. Thin gas drifts almost imperceptibly. Dust floats so widely spread that it feels more like suggestion than substance. There are no sharp boundaries here, no sudden transitions. Everything blends gradually, like colors fading into one another at dusk. This in-between space feels calm in a deep, instinctive way. Nothing here demands attention. Nothing calls for action. As your breathing continues to slow, the mind responds naturally to this openness. Thoughts stretch farther apart. The urge to follow them weakens. Awareness spreads gently, no longer anchored to specific details. The sun's light now appears as one glow among many. Other stars surround you, some brighter, some fainter, each carrying their own systems, their own histories, their own quiet persistence. Each star is distant. Each star is calm. You are not traveling toward them. You are simply aware of them. This distinction matters. There is no effort here, no movement you need to imagine. The sensation is not of traveling, but of perspective widening until motion no longer matters. The solar system continues without you. It does not change its rhythm. It does not slow or accelerate. It simply exists, exactly as it always has. You are free from responsibility now. The Milky Way holds you within its larger structure, not as a destination, but as a context, a vast framework in which countless stars and systems drift together, each following long, curved paths guided by gravity. Nothing collides, nothing rushes. Gravity here does not feel like pulling. It feels like belonging. As awareness softens further, the idea of distance begins to lose its meaning. Near and far blur together. Direction becomes irrelevant. What matters is the sense of being carried within something stable and immense. This is the same sensation the body seeks during sleep. Sleep does not require direction. It does not require progress. It happens when vigilance fades and the need to orient dissolves. Between stars, there is no horizon to watch, no change to anticipate. The mind naturally releases its hold on alertness. Breathing deepens, the body grows heavier, thoughts appear less frequently, and when they do, they dissolve before forming clearly. This is not emptiness, it is rest. The Milky Way continues its slow rotation around you, unseen, unfelt, yet constant. You are already part of this motion, carried without effort. There is nothing you need to remember from this place, nothing you need to understand. You are allowed to drift. As the space between stars stretches endlessly, the idea of the solar system fades almost completely. It does not disappear, it simply loses importance. What remains is quiet scale, quiet continuity. The galaxy does not care whether you are awake or asleep. It does not pause, it does not accelerate. It moves with patience older than thought. And you, within this vast rhythm, are free to rest completely. Your body is settled now, heavy and supported, breathing slow and quiet without effort. There is no need to listen closely. The words can move gently through awareness, like distant light passing through space. As the familiar fades, a broader understanding begins to form. The Milky Way is not endless chaos. It has structure, it has shape, and that shape reveals itself slowly without demanding attention. Our galaxy is a spiral, not a sharp or rigid form, but a gentle one. A vast, flattened disk of stars, gas and dust, turning calmly through space. From above, it would resemble a soft pinwheel of light. From within, it feels like depth layered upon depth, extending quietly in every direction. You are inside this disk now. Above and below you, the number of stars thins gradually. Ahead and behind, they continue in long, luminous lanes. There is no edge you can see, no boundary you can reach. The galaxy surrounds you without enclosing you. This structure formed slowly, over immense spans of time. Matter gathered, gravity guided, rotation emerged. Nothing snapped into place, nothing rushed. Order arose naturally, as it often does when allowed enough time. The Milky Way's spiral arms curve outward from the center, sweeping through space like slow-moving waves. They are not solid objects. They are regions where stars and gas gather more densely, moving together in broad, patient patterns. Stars drift into these arms, remain for a while, and then drift out again. No star is trapped, no path is forced. Everything participates briefly, then continues on. This motion is deeply calming to imagine. Nothing here clings, nothing resists. As awareness softens further, the mind responds to this sense of gentle order. Thoughts no longer feel scattered. They follow wider curves, forming slowly and dissolving naturally. The galaxy does not require control to remain stable. It relies on balance. Gravity holds the disk together, guiding stars along curved paths that take hundreds of millions of years to complete. One full rotation of the Milky Way takes so long that entire civilizations rise and fall during a fraction of it. Time here feels vast, but not heavy. It feels spacious. As you rest now, the idea of speed becomes less meaningful. Motion exists, but it unfolds so slowly that it feels almost like stillness. This is not inactivity, it is calm continuity. The Milky Way's disk is thin compared to its width, yet immense by any human measure. Light years stretch gently outward, filled with faint glow and shadow. Dust lanes thread through the disk, softening starlight, turning brightness into warmth. Nothing here is harsh. Even the brightest regions are diffused, filtered through layers of space. Light becomes gentle. Contrast softens. The galaxy feels kind to the senses. This kindness allows rest. Your breathing continues to slow, matching the galaxy's rhythm. Inhale flows into exhale without pause. There is no need to guide it. The body knows the pace it needs. The mind begins to release its need to label or define. Shape is felt rather than analyzed. Structure is sensed rather than understood. You do not need to visualize the galaxy clearly. It is enough to feel its presence. The Milky Way is home to hundreds of billions of stars. Yet from this perspective, individual stars lose importance. What matters is the whole, the collective motion, the quiet coherence. This shift in focus is soothing. When the whole becomes more important than the parts, urgency fades. Details no longer demand attention. The mind rests more easily when it no longer tries to manage everything separately. As awareness drifts deeper, the galaxy's shape becomes less like an image and more like a sensation. A gentle curvature, a wide, slow turning, a sense of being carried along without effort. You are not standing still within the galaxy. You are moving with it. And yet, there is no sensation of travel. This paradox is comforting. Movement without effort, change without disturbance. Sleep works the same way. You do not feel yourself crossing into it. There is no moment to notice. Awareness simply softens until the boundary disappears. The Milky Way continues its rotation, calm and patient. Its shape remains stable across immense spans of time. Stars are born, age, and fade, yet the spiral persists. This persistence does not feel rigid, it feels adaptable. The galaxy has changed over billions of years, yet it has never lost its balance. It adjusts slowly, absorbing change without disruption. As you rest now, your body mirrors this adaptability. It releases tension gradually. It adjusts quietly. Balance restores itself without awareness. You do not need to help it. The shape of the Milky Way holds you gently, not as something separate, but as part of its ongoing motion. You have always been within this structure, carried along its spiral arm, turning calmly through space. This realization does not require thought. It settles quietly, like a feeling of belonging that does not need explanation. As the words continue to soften, even the idea of shape begins to fade. Curves blur. Motion becomes impression rather than image. What remains is calm. The Milky Way carries you along one of its spiral arms. Not quickly, not noticeably, but steadily, patiently, over immense time. Spiral arms are not solid structures. They are not fixed paths carved into space. They are regions where stars, gas, and dust gather more densely, moving together like a slow wave passing through the galaxy. As you drift within this arm, nothing feels crowded. Stars remain far apart, separated by vast distances of quiet. Their light does not compete. It blends softly, creating a gentle glow that fills the darkness without sharp edges. Motion here is subtle. Stars orbit the galactic center along curved paths that take hundreds of millions of years to complete. During that time, entire histories unfold and fade. Yet from this perspective, everything feels still. This is slow motion on a cosmic scale. Nothing here hurries, nothing anticipates, nothing resists the passage of time. The spiral arm does not pull stars along forcefully. It guides them gently, allowing gravity to do its quiet work. Stars drift into the arm, linger for a while, and then slowly drift onward, continuing their long journeys through the galaxy. No star remains here forever. No star is trapped. This impermanence does not feel unsettling. It feels natural. As awareness continues to soften, the mind responds instinctively to this rhythm. Thoughts slow. They no longer form sharp beginnings or clear endings. They arise gently, then fade before completing themselves. The spiral arm becomes a place of rest, not because nothing happens here, but because everything happens slowly enough to feel calm. Clouds of gas drift lazily through the arm, their motion measured in millions of years. Dust lanes thread through space like faint shadows, softening starlight, turning brightness into warmth. These dust lanes blur detail. They remove sharp contrast. They invite the eye and the mind to relax. You do not need to see clearly here. Clarity is not required for rest. Stars form quietly within these arms, emerging slowly from dense clouds wrapped in dust and shadow. Their light grows gradually, joining the collective glow without announcement. There is no moment of arrival. This is how rest works as well. Sleep does not announce itself. It does not arrive suddenly. It gathers. As your breathing continues its slow, natural rhythm, the body releases the last traces of effort. Muscles soften further. The jaw loosens. The space behind the eyes grows heavy and warm. The spiral arm continues to carry you, though you do not feel movement. There is no sensation of speed. Direction loses meaning. You are not moving toward anything. You are simply part of a larger flow. This absence of destination is deeply soothing. On Earth, movement often implies urgency. Here, movement is simply continuation. The galaxy does not move to arrive somewhere else. It moves because motion is part of its nature. You are allowed to rest within that motion. As awareness drifts deeper, the idea of time stretches. Minutes lose their shape. Seconds dissolve. There is no sense of waiting. The spiral arm curves gently around the galaxy, a wide, luminous band of stars and dust, turning endlessly without strain. Its shape remains stable even as individual stars pass through it. This balance between change and continuity feels reassuring. Things can change without disrupting the whole. Motion does not threaten stability. Your body understands this. Even as you lie still, processes continue quietly. Breath flows, circulation adjusts, restoration unfolds without awareness. Stillness and motion coexist naturally. The spiral arm reminds us that rest does not mean stopping. It means releasing effort. As the voice continues, it becomes less important to follow the imagery. The arm becomes a sensation rather than a picture, a feeling of being carried gently without responsibility. Stars blur into soft points of light. Dust becomes shadow. Motion becomes impression. The galaxy does not need to be visualized. It only needs to be felt. The arm continues its slow sweep around the galactic center, guided by gravity, sustained by balance. Nothing here requires intervention. Nothing needs correction. You are safe to let go. As awareness drifts even deeper, the boundaries between thought and silence soften. Thoughts appear less frequently now. When they do, they fade before asking for attention. This is the threshold of deeper rest. The spiral arm continues, patient and calm, carrying countless stars along paths that feel timeless. And you, within this vast motion, are free to drift without effort. Your body is resting deeply now, supported without effort, breathing slow and quiet. There is no need to focus. The words can move gently through awareness, like distant light softened by space. Within the spiral arms of the Milky Way lie regions of quiet creation. Vast clouds of gas and dust drift together, suspended in darkness, moving so slowly that their motion feels almost still. These are the places where stars are born. Star nurseries do not feel active or dramatic. They are calm, dim, protected. Light struggles to pass through them, absorbed by dust that softens everything it touches. What looks like emptiness is, in truth, fullness waiting patiently. These clouds are enormous. They stretch across dozens, sometimes hundreds of light years, and yet, inside them, nothing rushes. Gravity works gently, drawing material inward over millions of years, allowing density to increase without strain. There is no sudden beginning here. Gas drifts closer to gas. Dust settles into slow currents. Pressure builds gradually, quietly, without resistance. Heat gathers slowly at the center of forming regions, wrapped in darkness and silence. Eventually, when conditions are right, a new star begins to glow, not with a flash, not with force, but with a soft, steady light that grows gently over time. Even then, the star remains hidden, cocooned within the cloud that formed it. Its light filters outward slowly, never overwhelming the surrounding space. This process mirrors the way sleep arrives. Sleep does not appear suddenly. It gathers. It forms quietly beneath awareness, wrapped in darkness and softness, until rest becomes inevitable. Star nurseries are some of the darkest places in the galaxy. Dust absorbs visible light, creating deep shadows and muted tones. From a distance, these regions appear empty, almost void-like. But they are among the richest places in existence. They contain the raw materials for countless stars, planetary systems, and future worlds. Creation here does not announce itself. It waits. There is comfort in this waiting. Nothing here needs to be seen to be real. Nothing needs to be named to exist. As awareness drifts deeper, imagine floating within one of these clouds. Light is dim and diffuse. Edges blur. Distance loses meaning. There is no clear sense of direction. Everything feels enclosed, protected, and still. Within the cloud, regions slowly collapse under their own gravity, forming denser knots of material. These regions spin gently, flattening into disks that will one day become stars with planets of their own. But that future does not matter now. What matters is the quiet. Star nurseries teach us that growth does not require awareness, that creation happens best when left undisturbed, that darkness is not absence, but preparation. Your own body understands this instinctively. As you rest, systems work quietly beneath awareness. Repair unfolds, balance restores, energy redistributes itself without instruction. You do not need to witness it. The galaxy does not hurry this process. It allows star nurseries to take as long as they need. Millions of years pass without urgency. No deadline exists. This patience is deeply calming. When the mind senses that nothing needs to happen, it releases control naturally. Your breathing slows further now. Inhale and exhale blend smoothly together. Muscles soften, not because you relax them, but because they no longer need to hold tension. Inside star nurseries, sound does not exist. There is no air to carry it. Creation happens in perfect silence. That silence is not empty. It is complete. As awareness continues to soften, even the imagery of clouds and stars begins to blur. Shapes dissolve. Light fades into impression. The mind no longer needs pictures to remain engaged. This is where sleep deepens most easily. Star nurseries do not rush to produce stars. Some regions remain dormant for millions of years, drifting quietly, holding their potential without urgency. Potential does not demand expression. You are allowed the same permission tonight. You do not need to resolve anything. You do not need to complete any thought. You do not need to arrive anywhere. Rest is enough. The Milky Way continues to carry these clouds gently along its spiral arms, turning slowly around the galactic center. Even as stars are born, the larger rhythm remains unchanged. Continuity surrounds creation. As awareness drifts deeper, the sense of time stretches again. Minutes lose their shape. There is no sense of waiting for the next moment. Star nurseries remain wrapped in darkness, forming stars quietly, patiently, without attention. And you, held within this vast, gentle process, are free to drift toward deeper rest. Remain here, wrapped in darkness, resting within quiet creation. Beyond the star nurseries, farther along the spiral arms of the Milky Way, live stars that are very old, ancient stars. They formed early in the galaxy's history, when the Milky Way itself was still young, long before Earth existed, long before planets settled into familiar shapes. These stars have been shining quietly for billions of years, carrying the memory of the galaxy within their light. Ancient stars do not burn brightly. They do not demand attention. Their light is softer now, often red or amber, cooler than younger stars, steadier and more subdued. They have learned how to endure without urgency. This endurance feels deeply calming. As you drift among these stars, nothing changes quickly. Their motion is slow, their brightness constant, their presence reliable. They move along long, gentle orbits that take hundreds of millions of years to complete. Time here stretches beyond meaning. Stars like these have watched the Milky Way evolve. They have seen spiral arms shift. They have seen generations of stars born and fade. And still, they continue. Not because they strive to, but because balance allows them to. This is an important distinction. Endurance does not come from effort. It comes from stability. Ancient stars conserve their energy carefully. They burn fuel slowly, releasing light at a pace that can be sustained over immense spans of time. There is no rush toward an ending. There is only continuation. Your body understands this principle instinctively. As you rest, energy is conserved. Systems slow down. Nothing is wasted. Rest allows endurance without strain. Ancient stars are often found in the outer regions of the galaxy and in the halo that surrounds it. They drift above and below the galactic disk, following wide, looping paths that feel detached from the busier regions closer to the center. These paths are calm, no collisions, no crowding, just steady motion through quiet space. As awareness softens further, imagine floating near one of these stars. Its light is gentle, warm, unhurried. It does not flicker or pulse. It shines with patience. There is no drama here, no sudden change. The mind responds naturally to this steadiness. Thoughts slow even further. The urge to follow them weakens. Attention loosens its grip. Ancient stars remind us that not everything needs to be new, that stability itself is valuable, that rest is not absence, but preservation. You do not need to renew yourself tonight. You only need to rest. Many of these stars have outlived entire galaxies, merging and reshaping themselves. They have persisted through events that would feel unimaginable on human timescales. And yet, they do not carry that history as weight. They simply shine. As awareness drifts deeper, the concept of age loses its meaning. Old and new blur together. What matters is constancy, reliability, quiet presence. This is the state the nervous system seeks when sleep approaches, a state where nothing unexpected happens, where patterns remain stable, where vigilance is no longer necessary. Your breathing continues on its own, slower now, deeper, quieter. Each breath feels complete. There is no urge to inhale more deeply or exhale more fully. The body has found its rhythm. Ancient stars exist in that same rhythm. They do not push energy outward. They allow it to flow. Their light travels for thousands of years through space, reaching other regions of the galaxy long after it was emitted. By the time it arrives, the star itself may have changed subtly, yet the light continues. This gentle delay feels soothing. It reminds us that not everything needs to be immediate, that response can be slow, that nothing is lost by taking time. As you rest now, imagine your thoughts moving like this light, arising slowly, traveling quietly, fading before reaching any destination. There is no need to complete them. Ancient stars do not seek attention. They do not signal their importance. They simply remain. This quiet confidence creates calm. As awareness softens further, the imagery of stars begins to blur. Individual points of light fade into a soft glow. Distance loses meaning. Motion becomes impression. The mind no longer needs clear images to remain engaged. It is content to rest in sensation alone. This is where sleep deepens. The Milky Way continues its slow rotation around you, carrying ancient stars along paths older than memory. Nothing here changes suddenly. Nothing disrupts the rhythm. And you, within this vast continuity, are free to rest without effort. Time in the Milky Way does not feel like time on Earth. Here, moments are not counted. Seconds do not matter. Even years lose their sharp edges. Time stretches and softens, unfolding so slowly that it feels almost still. The galaxy moves on timescales that the human mind does not need to understand in order to feel calm. Stars take hundreds of millions of years to complete a single orbit around the galactic center. Spiral arms drift and reshape themselves over spans longer than entire civilizations. Nothing here rushes. Change exists, but it arrives quietly, without urgency, without announcement. The Milky Way does not hurry toward the future, nor does it cling to the past. It simply continues. This continuity has a profound effect on the mind. As awareness drifts deeper, the need to measure time begins to fade. There is no next moment you need to prepare for, no upcoming point that requires attention. The idea of later loses importance. This is the natural environment of sleep. On Earth, time often feels segmented. Days are divided into hours, hours into minutes. Each moment asks something of you. Here, time is smooth and unbroken. One state flows gently into the next without sharp transitions. The galaxy has no schedule. It does not mark beginnings or endings. Stars are born and fade continuously, overlapping in time, without clear boundaries. There is no single moment when the galaxy was young, and no single moment when it will be old. Everything exists within a constant present that stretches across billions of years. As your breathing slows further, your body aligns with this rhythm. Inhale and exhale blend together. There is no pause that needs to be filled, no breath that needs to be controlled. The nervous system releases its attachment to urgency. Time inside the body changes during rest. Heart rate slows. Brain activity shifts. Awareness no longer tracks the passage of moments. Sleep arrives not because enough time has passed, but because time stops being monitored. Galactic time offers the same permission. There is no need to be aware of how long you have been listening. There is no need to know what comes next. The journey unfolds without requiring your participation. As you drift within this immense timescale, the idea of waiting dissolves. There is nothing ahead to anticipate, nothing behind to review. Past and future blur into a single, quiet now. This is deeply soothing. The Milky Way has existed for more than 13 billion years. During that time, countless stars have lived entire lifetimes, while the galaxy itself remained. It has absorbed change without disruption, adapting slowly, gently, continuously. This adaptability creates calm. It reminds us that change does not need to feel threatening, that transformation can be slow and kind, that continuity can survive even as details shift. As awareness softens further, the mind begins to release its final habits of tracking. Thoughts no longer feel tied to sequence. They appear, then dissolve, without forming narratives. Sleep does not exist within a timeline. It exists outside of it. The galaxy demonstrates this perfectly. It does not experience time as a series of moments. It experiences time as flow. You are invited into that flow now. There is no pressure to fall asleep, no expectation to reach a certain state, no requirement to let go. Letting go happens naturally when there is nothing left to hold. Your breathing continues on its own, quiet and steady. The body feels heavier, more grounded, even as awareness feels lighter and more diffuse. This combination signals deep rest. Galactic time does not ask for awareness. It continues whether observed or not. Stars orbit, gas drifts, dust settles, all without attention. You are allowed the same freedom. You do not need to witness sleep arriving. You do not need to notice the moment awareness fades. The process does not need to be marked. As awareness drifts deeper, even the concept of the galaxy begins to soften. Images blur. Scale becomes feeling rather than thought. Time becomes spacious rather than linear. What remains is calm. The Milky Way continues its slow rotation. carrying everything within it along gentle curves that feel eternal. Nothing here is late, nothing is early. Everything unfolds exactly when it does. And you, held within this vast rhythm, are free to rest completely. Remain here, outside of time, resting within continuity. Remain exactly as you are. Your body is deeply at rest now, breathing slow and quiet, supported without effort. There is no need to hold attention. The words can move gently through awareness, like light softened by distance. As you drift farther along the spiral arm, the stars begin to thin and blur. Their sharp points soften, their light diffused by vast clouds drifting quietly through space. These are nebulae, immense regions of gas and dust suspended in the Milky Way, stretching across dozens and sometimes hundreds of light years. They do not feel solid. They do not feel empty. They feel like quiet atmosphere, gently shaping everything that passes through them. Nebulae soften the galaxy. Starlight passing through these clouds loses its sharpness. Bright points blur into gentle color. Reds, blues, and faint purples glow softly where light interacts with gas, while darker regions remain wrapped in shadow. Nothing here is harsh. Cosmic dust floats everywhere within these clouds. Tiny grains, smaller than smoke, drift so widely spread that they seem almost unreal. And yet, without this dust, the galaxy would feel sharp and exposed. Dust absorbs light. Dust calms brightness. Dust creates softness. As awareness continues to drift inward, the mind responds instinctively to this softening. Thoughts lose their edges. Sensations blur into comfort. The need for clarity fades. Nebulae do not rush to become anything else. They do not seek definition. They exist as they are, drifting, reshaping slowly under the influence of gravity and time. Some nebulae will one day give birth to stars. Others will simply drift and disperse, spreading their material gently across the galaxy. There is no preference, no urgency. This lack of pressure is deeply calming. Your own rest follows the same principle. There is nothing you need to become tonight, nothing you need to resolve. Rest does not require progress. As you float within a nebula, direction becomes meaningless. There is no up or down, no clear distance. Light filters in from all sides, dim and gentle, creating the sense of being enclosed without confinement. This enclosure feels safe. Nebulae act like cushions within the galaxy. They buffer movement. They slow transitions. They allow processes to unfold quietly, without exposure. Your nervous system recognizes this environment instinctively. Safety allows rest. Softness allows release. As breathing continues at its slow, natural pace, the body sinks further into stillness. Muscles no longer hold themselves ready. The face relaxes. The space behind the eyes grows warm and heavy. Inside nebulae, sound does not exist. There is no air to carry it. Creation and transformation happen in perfect silence. This silence is not empty. It is full of presence. Dust grains drift past one another without collision. Gas flows in slow currents, shaped by gravity so gentle that motion feels optional. Even time feels softened here. Moments stretch. Change unfolds gradually. Nothing arrives suddenly. Nothing leaves abruptly. This environment invites the mind to release its final attachments to alertness. Thoughts now appear rarely. When they do, they feel distant, unimportant, easy to let go of. there is no impulse to follow them. Nebulae teach us that not everything needs definition, that vagueness can be comforting, that rest lives best where edges dissolve. As awareness deepens, imagery becomes less distinct. Colors fade, shapes blur. What remains is a sensation of being wrapped, held, cushioned within space itself. You do not need to imagine this clearly. It is enough to feel it. The Milky Way continues its slow rotation, carrying nebulae along gentle paths around the galactic center. Even as clouds drift and reshape, the larger rhythm remains unchanged. Continuity surrounds softness. As your body rests more deeply, this continuity supports sleep. There is no interruption, no transition to notice. Rest flows naturally from one moment to the next. Nebulae do not resist change. They allow themselves to be shaped gradually, without effort. They do not cling to form. You are allowed the same release. Nothing needs to be held together tonight. Nothing needs to remain defined. As awareness drifts even further inward, the last traces of imagery fade. The idea of the galaxy softens into sensation alone, a gentle presence, a calm backdrop. This is where sleep deepens most naturally. Nebulae remain, drifting quietly, shaping light and shadow without demand. And you, held within this vast softness, are free to let go completely. Beyond the nebulae, beyond the softened glow of dust and gas, the Milky Way opens into something even quieter. The space between stars. This space makes up most of the galaxy. Stars may seem numerous when seen from afar, but they are separated by enormous distances, vast stretches of calm where almost nothing happens. Almost. The space between stars is not empty, it is simply sparse. A few atoms drift here and there, spread so widely that they rarely meet. Thin magnetic fields extend gently. Faint currents of energy pass through unnoticed. Nothing here competes. Nothing presses. Nothing interrupts. This quiet is profound. As you drift through this interstellar space, the mind responds instinctively. Without visual detail or motion to track, attention loosens. Awareness spreads outward, no longer anchored to any single point. This is the kind of environment the nervous system recognizes as safe. There are no sudden changes here, no sharp contrasts. Light is distant and soft, arriving from stars far away, filtered by unimaginable distance. Shadows do not feel dark, they feel calm. Between stars, motion is so slow that it feels like stillness. Gas drifts over millions of years. Dust moves gently, guided by gravity and subtle forces that do not announce themselves. Nothing here is in a hurry. Your breathing mirrors this pace. Each inhale feels unforced. Each exhale releases without effort. The body sinks further into rest, responding naturally to the absence of stimulation. The space between stars does not demand interpretation. It does not ask to be understood. It simply exists. This existence without demand is deeply soothing. On Earth, silence often feels temporary. It is something that might be broken at any moment. Here, silence is continuous. It stretches endlessly, unbroken, uninterrupted. The mind begins to trust this silence. Thoughts become less frequent now. When they do appear, they feel distant, detached, easy to let go of. There is no urge to follow them or complete them. Awareness rests in openness. The stars around you feel less like destinations and more like gentle markers within the vast calm. points of light suspended in a sea of quiet. They do not pull attention toward them. They simply exist. Between stars, gravity still works, but gently. It does not draw things together forcefully. It allows them to remain in loose relationship, held within the larger structure of the galaxy. This gentle holding feels reassuring. You are not drifting away. You are not falling. You are simply being held lightly, without pressure. As awareness continues to soften, the idea of separation fades. The distinction between star and space, between object and emptiness, becomes less important. Everything blends into a single, calm presence. This blending mirrors the way sleep dissolves boundaries. As sleep approaches, the mind no longer distinguishes sharply between thoughts, sensations, and silence. Everything becomes part of the same quiet field. The space between stars teaches this naturally. It shows that nothing needs to fill every moment, that emptiness can be peaceful, that rest does not require constant input. Your body responds to this lesson without effort. Muscles remain loose, the face softens, the weight of the body feels comfortably heavy. The breath continues at its own pace, slow and complete. Between stars, there is no sense of direction, no horizon to move toward, no path to follow. Motion becomes irrelevant. This absence of direction is deeply calming. On Earth, direction often implies purpose, urgency, intention. Here, direction disappears, and with it, the need to act. You are allowed to simply be. As awareness drifts further inward, even the stars themselves begin to feel distant. Their light fades into the background. What remains is the quiet itself. This quiet does not feel empty. It feels full, full of space, full of time, full of rest. The Milky Way continues its slow rotation around you, but you do not feel it. You do not need to sense it. The galaxy carries everything effortlessly. You are part of that effortlessness now. The space between stars holds no expectations. It does not care whether you are awake or asleep. It does not respond to attention. This indifference is comforting. Nothing is required of you. As the words continue to soften, they become less important. Meaning fades. Sound becomes rhythm. Rhythm becomes background. Awareness drifts closer to sleep. The space between stars remains vast and quiet, unchanged, unchanging. It has always been this way, and it will remain this way long after this moment passes. There is comfort in that continuity. Nothing you do tonight will disturb it. Nothing you fail to do will affect it. You are free to rest completely. Even in the quiet between stars, something holds everything together. Gravity. It does not announce itself. It does not reveal its presence through sound or light. It simply exists, quietly shaping motion across the galaxy. Gravity is not felt as force here. It is felt as balance. Stars follow wide, curved paths through space, guided gently by the combined mass of the Milky Way. Gas drifts, dust settles. Everything moves together, not because it must, but because nothing resists. This quiet guidance creates stability. The galaxy does not collapse inward, nor does it fly apart. It remains whole, held together by gravity that works continuously, without effort, without pause. This invisible support is deeply calming. As you rest now, gravity supports your body in the same way. You do not need to hold yourself up. You do not need to adjust. The surface beneath you carries your weight effortlessly. Gravity removes the need for effort. The Milky Way trusts gravity completely. It does not fight it. It does not attempt to escape it. It allows gravity to guide motion naturally. This trust allows rest. Stars do not choose their paths. They follow them. Over millions of years, they move smoothly along orbits shaped by the galaxy's mass, never rushing, never stopping. This motion is so slow that it feels like stillness. As awareness drifts deeper, the mind responds to this steadiness. The need to control softens. The urge to anticipate fades. Vigilance loosens its hold. Sleep approaches when trust replaces effort. Gravity works everywhere in the galaxy, even when nothing seems to happen. In the quiet between stars, gravity still shapes motion gently, ensuring that nothing drifts away completely. This gentle holding feels reassuring. You are not drifting into emptiness. You are being held lightly, without pressure. As breathing continues at its slow, natural pace, the body sinks further into rest. Muscles release what little tension remains. The face softens. The jaw loosens. Gravity does not demand awareness. It does not require attention. It continues whether noticed or not. This is important. Sleep does not require awareness either. You do not need to notice yourself falling asleep. You do not need to observe the transition. It happens beneath attention, quietly, naturally. The galaxy demonstrates this perfectly. Even as stars move, even as gas flows, the overall structure remains calm and stable. Nothing dramatic interrupts the rhythm. Nothing pulls sharply or suddenly. Gravity is patient. It works over immense spans of time, allowing change to unfold gradually. Orbits evolve slowly. Structures adjust gently. Balance is maintained without urgency. This patience allows the galaxy to endure. As awareness softens further, thoughts appear less frequently. When they do, they feel distant and unimportant. There is no impulse to follow them to completion. The mind begins to rest in trust. Trust that the body knows how to sleep. Trust that rest will arrive without instruction. Trust that nothing needs to be managed tonight. Gravity holds the galaxy the way rest holds the body. Not tightly, not rigidly, but consistently. The Milky Way continues its slow rotation, carried by gravity that neither accelerates nor resists. Everything follows its path, not because it is forced, but because balance allows it. This balance is soothing to imagine. Nothing pulls you forward. Nothing pushes you back. You are free to settle exactly where you are. As awareness drifts closer to sleep, even the idea of gravity begins to fade. It becomes a feeling rather than a concept, a sense of being supported, carried, held. This feeling does not need explanation. Your breathing remains slow and steady. The body feels comfortably heavy. Awareness feels light and diffuse. This is the natural threshold of deeper sleep. The galaxy continues without interruption. Gravity continues its quiet work. Stars remain in their paths, and you are allowed to let go completely. You are apported without effort, resting within balance. Beyond the bright disk of the Milky Way lies something quieter still, a vast halo. This halo surrounds the galaxy in all directions, extending far above and below the spiral arms. It is immense, far larger than the visible disk itself, yet faint and subtle, easy to overlook. The halo does not glow brightly. It does not draw attention. It exists softly, holding ancient stars and invisible matter in wide, slow motion. Stars here are sparse, widely separated, drifting through space along long, looping paths that take them far from the busy regions of the galaxy. This is one of the calmest places in the Milky Way. As you drift into the halo, light becomes rare. Stars appear faint and distant. Darkness feels deep but gentle, not empty or cold. It feels spacious, open, and calm. Motion here is slower still. Stars in the halo follow graceful orbits that can take billions of years to complete. They pass quietly above and below the galactic disk, rarely interacting, rarely disturbed. Nothing crowds them. Nothing rushes them. This quiet motion has a soothing effect on awareness. As the environment grows simpler, the mind releases its final attachments to stimulation. There is nothing here to track, no pattern to follow, no detail to hold on to. The halo invites stillness. Many of the stars here are ancient. Some are among the oldest in the galaxy, formed long before the Milky Way settled into its current shape. They have traveled through immense spans of time, carrying the memory of the galaxy's earliest moments. Their light is soft and steady, often dimmer than stars in the disk, but deeply reliable. They do not flicker. They do not change suddenly. As you float among them, there is a sense of timelessness. Past and present lose distinction. Age becomes irrelevant. What matters is continuity. This continuity mirrors the state of deep rest. When the mind no longer tracks time, sleep deepens naturally. There is no awareness of duration, no concern for what comes next. The halo does not mark beginnings or endings. It exists in gentle extension, wrapping the galaxy in quiet balance. Invisible matter fills this region as well, contributing to the galaxy's stability without ever being seen. This unseen presence creates a sense of support that does not need explanation. Not everything that holds you needs to be felt. Your body responds to this idea instinctively. Even now, countless processes support rest beneath awareness. You do not sense them. You do not guide them. And yet, they work perfectly. As awareness drifts deeper, the idea of the galaxy itself begins to soften. Images blur. Distance loses meaning. What remains is a feeling of openness, of being surrounded by space that asks nothing of you. The halo does not pull inward. It does not push outward. It simply holds. Breathing remains slow and even. Each breath feels complete. There is no urge to adjust it or deepen it. The body has found its natural rhythm. The nervous system recognizes this environment as safe. No vigilance is needed. Nothing unexpected occurs here. Thoughts appear rarely now. When they do, they feel faint and distant, like echoes that fade before reaching you. There is no need to engage with them. Awareness rests in silence. The halo extends far beyond what can be imagined clearly. It blends gradually into the vastness of intergalactic space, without a clear boundary. There is no edge to reach. This absence of edges feels comforting. On Earth, boundaries often signal limits or expectations. Here, boundaries dissolve, and with them, the need to define where you are. You are simply within. As awareness continues to soften, even the sense of being somewhere begins to fade. Location becomes irrelevant. Orientation dissolves. what remains is rest. The Milky Way continues its slow rotation beneath the halo, but you do not feel it. You do not need to sense it. The larger structure supports everything quietly. The halo exists to balance, to stabilize, to provide space. You are allowed to rest within that space tonight. There is nothing to accomplish here, nothing to observe, nothing to understand. Sleep deepens most easily in places like this, where nothing happens quickly and nothing asks for attention. As the words continue to soften, their meaning becomes less important. Sound becomes rhythm. Rhythm becomes background. Awareness drifts gently inward. Much of the Milky Way cannot be seen, not because it is absent, but because it does not interact with light. Beneath the visible stars, dust, and glowing clouds lies a vast invisible structure that shapes the galaxy quietly. Dark matter. It does not shine. It does not reflect light. It does not announce its presence. And yet, without it, the Milky Way would not hold together. Dark matter forms a wide, unseen framework around and within the galaxy. It extends far beyond the visible disk, surrounding it like a gentle scaffold, shaping the motion of stars without ever being noticed directly. This invisible structure is calm. It does not pull sharply. It does not press suddenly. It guides motion slowly, patiently, over immense spans of time. Stars orbit the galactic center faster than visible matter alone would allow. The reason is this unseen presence, quietly holding everything in balance. This quiet support is deeply comforting. As you rest now, countless unseen systems support your body in the same way. You do not feel them working. You do not direct them. And yet, they keep everything stable. Breathing continues. Circulation adjusts. Restoration unfolds, all without awareness. Dark matter teaches us that not everything important is felt. That support does not need sensation. That stability does not require attention. As awareness softens further, the mind releases its attachment to visible structure. You do not need to see what holds you. You only need to trust that something does. The galaxy trusts this invisible framework completely. It does not question it. It moves within it effortlessly. This trust allows rest. The dark matter halo extends far into space, blending gradually into the wider universe. There is no sharp boundary, no clear edge. Everything transitions softly from presence to vastness. This softness feels safe. Sharp edges wake the mind. Gradual transitions allow it to sleep. As breathing continues at its slow, even pace, the body sinks deeper into stillness. The face relaxes fully. The space behind the eyes grows heavy and warm. Thoughts appear rarely now. When they do, they feel faint and distant, easy to let go of. Awareness rests in trust. Dark matter does not seek recognition. It does not announce its importance. It simply exists, shaping everything quietly. This humility is soothing. Not everything needs to be noticed to matter. Not everything needs to be named to be real. As the mind drifts closer to sleep, even the concept of dark matter begins to fade. What remains is a feeling of being held by something unseen but reliable. You do not need to understand how rest happens in order to rest. The galaxy does not understand itself. It simply continues. Stars follow their paths, gas drifts, dust settles. all guided by forces that do not require awareness. Your body follows the same principle. Sleep is not something you do. It is something that happens when effort leaves. As awareness softens further, language itself begins to lose importance. Words become sound. Sound becomes rhythm. Rhythm fades into silence. This silence is not empty, it is supportive. The Milky Way continues its slow rotation, held together by visible and invisible structures working in harmony. Nothing collapses, nothing flies apart. Balance remains, and you, held within this vast balance, are free to let go completely. Far beneath the quiet halo, the Milky Way continues its slow turning, and within that motion, there is a gentle inward curve. Not a pull, not a demand, just a natural tendency toward the center. You begin to drift toward the galactic core. This movement is not fast, it is not direct, it is gradual and patient. The spiral arms curve inward as they circle the galaxy, guiding stars along wide looping paths that slowly bring them closer to the center over immense spans of time. Nothing rushes inward. Nothing collapses suddenly. As you drift along this gentle curve, the density of stars increases almost imperceptibly. Points of light appear more frequently, closer together, forming a soft, luminous haze rather than distinct objects. Individual stars lose their importance here. What matters is the collective glow. This glow does not feel bright or overwhelming. It feels warm, layered, and calm, like many distant lights seen through soft mist. As awareness continues to soften, this inward drift mirrors the movement toward deeper sleep. Attention naturally turns inward. External details lose clarity. Internal sensation becomes quieter, heavier, more diffuse. You are not moving toward a destination. You are settling into a region. Gravity here feels more present, but still gentle. It does not pull sharply. It guides motion carefully, shaping orbits into smooth curves that weave around one another without collision. Despite the increased density, nothing feels crowded. Stars follow their paths with precision and patience, held in balance by the combined mass of the galaxy. Motion remains orderly, layered, and calm. This balance is reassuring. Even where complexity increases, stability remains. Your own mind may still produce occasional thoughts, but they no longer cluster or compete. They pass through quietly, like distant lights moving behind a veil. As breathing continues at its slow, natural pace, the body sinks further into rest. The sense of weight increases slightly, grounding awareness more fully in the present moment. The galactic core region is older in many ways. It has experienced countless cycles of star birth and transformation. And yet, it does not feel worn or chaotic. It feels seasoned, settled, balanced. Time behaves differently here. Orbits are shorter. Motion is faster compared to the outer regions, yet still slow on any human scale. Change happens continuously, but never abruptly. This continuous motion, without disruption, mirrors the state of deep rest, where processes continue quietly beneath awareness without disturbing sleep. As awareness drifts further inward, imagery softens again. The glow of stars blends into a gentle field of light. Edges blur. Distance loses meaning. You do not need to visualize the center clearly. It is enough to feel the inward settling. The galaxy does not rush toward its core. It circles it endlessly, maintaining distance even as it draws closer. This subtle balance prevents collapse and allows stability to endure. This lesson is gentle and important. Approaching rest does not mean losing yourself. It means settling closer to stillness without falling into strain. Your body understands this instinctively. Muscles remain loose. Breathing remains slow. Awareness drifts without direction. The closer you drift toward the core, the less important orientation becomes. Up and down dissolve. Near and far blur. Everything feels suspended within layered motion. This suspension is deeply calming. The galaxy holds immense energy at its center, yet that energy remains contained, balanced, and quiet. Nothing explodes. Nothing destabilizes the whole. Even intensity can exist calmly when structure is present. As awareness softens further, the sense of self loosens. Boundaries between body and space feel less distinct. Sensation becomes more generalized, less focused. This is a natural stage of sleep. The galactic core remains ahead, present but not demanding arrival. You do not need to reach it. You are simply aware of its presence, its steady influence shaping motion gently. There is no pressure to continue, no need to proceed. Rest does not require progress. As the words continue to soften, they become less significant. Meaning fades into rhythm. Rhythm dissolves into silence. You are carried inward without effort, drifting gently inward, resting within balance. Remain exactly as you are. Your body is deeply at rest now, breathing slow and quiet, supported without effort. There is no need to hold attention. The words can drift gently through awareness, like light softened by dust. You are near the heart of the Milky Way now, not arriving, not approaching quickly, simply resting within its presence. The galactic center is not a place of sharp clarity. It is layered, dense, and softly obscured. Clouds of dust and gas veil the region, filtering light until brightness becomes warmth and detail dissolves into glow. Stars gather closely here. Not crowded, but numerous. Their light overlaps gently, creating a continuous shimmer rather than distinct points. Individual stars lose importance. What remains is the collective presence of many lights held together. This density does not feel overwhelming. It feels contained. Despite the immense amount of mass and motion in this region, everything remains balanced. Stars follow precise paths, orbit in the center along smooth curves that weave together without collision or disruption. Motion exists everywhere here, yet nothing feels rushed. The galactic center teaches us that activity does not have to feel chaotic. That complexity can exist peacefully when supported by structure. As awareness drifts deeper, this calm complexity mirrors the state of deep rest. Even as internal processes continue, the surface of experience remains still. Breathing continues slowly and evenly. The body feels heavy and secure. The mind no longer tries to separate or define. Dust clouds wrap around the central region like a soft veil. They absorb harsh light, smoothing contrasts, creating shadows that feel gentle rather than dark. These clouds are thick and ancient, shaped slowly by gravity and motion. They move gradually, reshaping themselves over immense spans of time. Nothing here changes suddenly. This gradual pace allows the mind to relax completely. When nothing surprises the senses, vigilance fades. Stars in the galactic center are often older, having formed early in the galaxy's history. They have traveled these orbits for billions of years, tracing the same curves again and again without strain. There is comfort in repetition. The galaxy does not tire of its own motion. It does not seek novelty. It continues because continuation is natural. As awareness softens further, the idea of direction becomes meaningless. There is no need to orient yourself. No up or down, no near or far. Everything exists within layered motion, all held in balance. This balance extends to you. Your body rests within gravity. Your breath rests within rhythm. Your awareness rests within silence. The galactic center holds immense energy, yet it remains stable. This stability comes not from stillness, but from harmony. Every movement is counted, every force balanced. This harmony feels deeply reassuring. Even the most powerful regions of the universe can remain calm when balance is present. As the words continue, they become less important. Meaning softens into tone. Tone blends into silence. Awareness drifts closer to sleep. You do not need to visualize the center clearly. You do not need to imagine details. It is enough to feel the presence of something vast and steady, holding everything gently in place. The galactic center does not demand attention. It does not announce itself. It simply exists, shaping motion quietly. This quiet influence mirrors the pull of sleep itself. Sleep does not call loudly. It does not rush. It draws awareness inward slowly, until resistance fades. Your thoughts now appear rarely, and when they do, they dissolve before forming clearly. There is no need to follow them. The body sinks further into rest. Muscles release completely. The face softens. The space behind the eyes grows warm and heavy. Time feels distant now. There is no sense of how long you have been listening. No awareness of what comes next. The present moment stretches gently, without edges. This is the natural environment of sleep. The galactic center continues its quiet motion, unseen and unfelt, yet constant. Stars orbit, dust drifts, balance holds. You are held by calm complexity, resting at the heart of the Milky Way. At the very heart of the Milky Way lies something unseen, yet profoundly influential. Sagittarius A. It is a supermassive black hole millions of times more massive than the Sun, resting quietly at the galaxy's center. It does not roar. It does not pull violently. It does not consume constantly. It simply exists. From this distance, Sagittarius A does not feel dramatic or dangerous. It feels calm, anchoring, a steady presence around which the entire galaxy slowly turns. Stars near the center orbited along smooth, predictable paths. Their motion is fast compared to the outer regions, yet still measured on cosmic timescales. Nothing spirals inward uncontrollably. Nothing tears apart. Balance remains. This quiet gravity is soothing to imagine. Sagittarius A does not act through forceful motion. Its influence is subtle and continuous. It shapes the galaxy's heart without ever announcing itself. This quiet influence mirrors the way sleep draws awareness inward. Sleep does not arrive suddenly. It does not pull sharply. It settles the mind gently, bending attention inward until resistance fades. As awareness drifts deeper, the concept of the black hole begins to lose its sharp edges. It is no longer an object to imagine. It becomes a feeling of depth, of stillness, of inward settling. Light behaves differently near Sagittarius A. Paths curve gently. Time stretches subtly. Yet nothing here feels tense or unstable. Even extreme environments can feel calm when equilibrium is present. Your own body enters a similar state during deep rest. Systems slow. Awareness narrows. Time becomes fluid. You do not need to observe this shift. It happens beneath attention. Sagittarius A does not need to be seen to be known. Its presence is felt through motion around it, through the calm order it creates. Likewise, sleep does not need to be noticed to take hold. It reveals itself through softness, through the quiet disappearance of effort. As breathing continues at its slow, natural pace, the body sinks further into stillness. The sense of weight increases gently, grounding awareness without pressure. Thoughts now appear only faintly. When they do, they feel distant, easily released. There is no need to complete them. The galaxy does not ask Sagittarius A to act. It does not demand anything of it. It simply orbits. This relationship feels reassuring. Not everything at the center of things needs to be active. Some centers exist to hold, not to move. Sagittarius A holds the galaxy's heart quietly. As awareness softens further, even the idea of gravity fades. What remains is a sense of being drawn inward gently, without motion, without effort. This inward settling is the threshold of deep sleep. The black hole does not pull everything into itself. It allows stars to remain at stable distances, orbiting peacefully. It maintains space rather than consuming it. This restraint is calming. Rest does not erase awareness. It simply allows it to become quieter. Sagittarius teaches us that stillness can exist at the center of motion, that depth does not require drama, that silence can be powerful without being disruptive. As the words continue to soften, meaning fades. Language dissolves into tone. Tone becomes background. Awareness drifts further inward. You are not falling asleep. You are settling. The galaxy continues its slow turning around its quiet center. Nothing changes abruptly. Nothing demands attention. And you are allowed to let go completely. In the next part, we will gently expand outward again, sensing the motion of the galaxy as a whole and preparing the journey to come to rest. But for now, there is nothing you need to do. Just rest in quiet gravity, held at the heart of the Milky Way. As the Milky Way continues its slow, steady motion, perspective widens once more. You sense your place within this vast structure, not as a point to locate, not as a position to define, but as a gentle belonging. The sun, earth, and everything familiar have always been part of this galaxy, long before names were given, long before maps were drawn, long before awareness existed to wonder where it was. Our solar system moves quietly along one of the Milky Way's spiral arms, far from the crowded center, in a region where stars are spaced comfortably apart. A calm neighborhood, stable and enduring. This distance is not isolation, it is balance. Here, change arrives slowly. Orbits remain steady. Conditions allow continuity. This is why life had time to form, time to evolve, time to rest within long rhythms. As awareness drifts deeper, this realization settles gently. You are not separate from the galaxy. You are carried within it. The Earth has completed countless orbits around the galactic center since it formed, each one taking hundreds of millions of years. During those orbits, oceans formed, mountains rose, life emerged and changed, and yet the larger motion remained calm. This contrast between immense change and gentle continuity is soothing. It reminds us that even when life feels busy or complex, it unfolds within a larger steadiness that does not hurry. As you rest now, the mind begins to release the idea of needing a specific place or role. There is no position you need to occupy, no direction you need to face. You belong simply by existing. The galaxy does not assign importance based on location. It does not rank stars or systems. Everything follows its path without judgment. This absence of judgment is calming. You do not need to evaluate yourself tonight. You do not need to measure progress. You do not need to define where you are. You are already exactly where you need to be. As breathing continues at its slow, even pace, the body sinks further into rest. Awareness feels lighter now, less anchored to any specific sensation. Thoughts appear rarely. When they do, they feel distant, like memories that no longer ask to be revisited. The idea of place softens further. Up and down lose meaning. Near and far blur. Inside and outside dissolve. What remains is presence without location. This is a natural stage of deep sleep. The Milky Way continues its motion whether you are aware of it or not. It does not change when noticed. It does not pause when ignored. This constancy allows rest. Nothing you do tonight will alter the galaxy's path. Nothing you fail to do will disturb it. The larger rhythm continues effortlessly. You are free to release responsibility. As awareness drifts deeper, the sense of being an observer fades. There is no longer a need to watch or imagine. The galaxy becomes background, then sensation, then quiet presence. This quiet presence feels supportive rather than distant. You are not small within it. You are included. The stars that surround your region of the galaxy are not remarkable individually. They are average, stable, long-lived, and there is comfort in that. Not everything needs to be exceptional. Ordinary stability allows rest. Your own body is ordinary in this way. It does not require intensity to function. It works best when allowed to settle into familiar rhythms. As awareness softens further, even the idea of belonging becomes less important. There is no need to hold on to it. It dissolves naturally as the mind prepares to rest fully. The galaxy does not ask you to remember where you are. Sleep does not ask you to remember anything at all. Breathing remains slow and quiet. The body feels heavy and secure. The mind feels open and unburdened. This is the space where sleep deepens without effort. The Milky Way continues its slow turning, carrying everything gently along spiral paths that feel timeless. Nothing calls for attention. Nothing demands response. You are allowed to drift completely. Your body is deeply relaxed now, breathing slow and quiet, supported without effort. There is no need to stay alert. The words can drift gently through awareness, like distant light moving across space, without asking to be followed. Light moves slowly on a cosmic scale. Even though it travels faster than anything else in the universe, it still takes time, sometimes immense amounts of time, to cross the vast distances of the Milky Way. When you look at a star, you are not seeing it as it is now. You are seeing it as it was. Light carries history. Some of the light drifting through the galaxy tonight began its journey thousands, even tens of thousands of years ago. It left its star long before modern cities existed, long before human memory recorded events, and still, it travels patiently, crossing space without urgency. This patience feels calming. The Milky Way is filled with light in motion. Streams of photons glide quietly through gas and dust, bending gently around gravity, passing through nebulae, drifting between stars. Nothing interrupts them. Nothing hurries them. Light does not rush to arrive. It moves because movement is its nature, not because it is trying to reach an end. As awareness softens further, this idea mirrors the way sleep approaches. Sleep does not hurry toward you. It arrives gradually, spreading through the body and mind like light filling space, touching everything gently. Light passing through dust softens, its sharpness fades. Colors blur into warmth. Brightness becomes glow. This softening is important. Harsh light wakes the mind. Gentle light allows it to rest. Across the Milky Way, much of the light never reaches clear space. It is absorbed, scattered, and reshaped by clouds of gas and dust. And that light is not lost. It becomes part of the environment, warming clouds, shaping future stars. Nothing is wasted. This is comforting. Even thoughts that drift through awareness tonight are not wasted. They arise, pass through, soften, and dissolve. They do not need to reach a conclusion to have served their purpose. Light traveling through the galaxy experiences time differently. From the perspective of the light itself, no time passes at all. It leaves its star and arrives somewhere else without experiencing the journey. This idea is difficult to grasp, and yet deeply soothing. It suggests that distance does not always imply effort, that movement does not always require awareness. Sleep works the same way. You do not experience the passage into sleep. One moment you are aware, and the next, awareness is gone. The journey happens without being felt. As breathing remains slow and even, the body sinks further into stillness. The mind releases its last attachment to tracking experience. Light continues its journey across the Milky Way, passing ancient stars, young stars, quiet regions, and dense clouds. It does not discriminate. It touches everything gently. Some light will never reach another star or planet. It will drift endlessly through interstellar space, becoming part of the galaxy's quiet glow. This endless drifting feels peaceful. Not everything needs a destination. As awareness drifts deeper, the imagery of light begins to soften. Beams blur. Motion becomes impression. What remains is a sense of gentle continuity. Light does not break silence. It belongs to it. The Milky Way glows softly because of countless journeys happening at once, each one slow, each one patient, each one uninterrupted. Your rest tonight is part of this same pattern. Processes unfold quietly beneath awareness. Signals move. Balance restores. You do not need to observe any of it. Light teaches us that time does not always need to be felt, that movement does not need to be noticed. that arrival does not need to be marked. As the mind drifts closer to sleep, even these reflections soften. Meaning fades. Words become sound. Sound becomes background. Awareness loosens its hold completely. The galaxy continues to glow gently, filled with ancient light drifting through space. Nothing calls for attention. Nothing demands response. You are allowed to let go, resting outside of time. The Milky Way does not teach through instruction. It teaches through presence. By simply existing, it offers lessons that settle quietly into the mind, not as ideas to remember, but as feelings that calm the nervous system naturally. The first lesson is patience. The galaxy does not hurry. It does not rush toward outcomes or resist change. It moves forward slowly, steadily, allowing time to unfold at its own pace. Stars take millions of years to form. Orbits take hundreds of millions of years to complete. Nothing insists on immediacy. This patience is not passive. It is confident. The Milky Way does not wait anxiously for something to happen. It simply continues, trusting that change will arrive when it does. As you rest now, this patience becomes personal. Sleep does not respond to effort or urgency. It arrives when the mind stops waiting for it and allows the present moment to be enough. The second lesson is scale. The Milky Way is vast beyond easy comprehension. Hundreds of billions of stars, each with its own history, move together within a single structure. From this scale, individual concerns soften naturally. This does not diminish their importance. It places them gently into context. When the mind senses scale, it releases its grip on detail. It no longer needs to hold everything tightly. Larger rhythms exist. Larger patterns continue. You are allowed to lean into those patterns tonight. The galaxy also teaches balance. Despite its size and complexity, the Milky Way remains stable. Gravity, motion, and structure work together without conflict. No single force dominates destructively. Everything contributes to harmony. Balance does not require stillness. It allows motion. As your body rests now, balance returns naturally. Breathing steadies, muscles release, awareness softens. Nothing needs to be forced. The galaxy shows that stability can coexist with change. That rest does not mean stopping. It means releasing resistance. Another lesson is humility. The Milky Way does not draw attention to itself. It does not announce its significance. It simply exists, vast and patient, without seeking recognition. This humility feels calming. Not everything needs to be noticed to matter. Not everything needs to be named to be real. Sleep arrives quietly, the same way. It does not ask to be acknowledged. It settles in when attention loosens. The galaxy also teaches trust. Stars trust gravity to guide their paths. They do not question where they are going. They do not resist motion. They follow curves shaped by forces they do not need to understand. Your body trusts sleep in the same way. You do not need to know how rest happens. You do not need to guide it. The body already knows the path. The Milky Way demonstrates that systems can function perfectly without awareness. That understanding is not required for balance. As awareness drifts deeper, these lessons no longer feel like thoughts. They become sensations, a sense of steadiness, of permission, of release. The galaxy also teaches continuity. It has endured collisions, mergers, and transformation across billions of years. And yet, it remains. It adapts slowly, absorbing change without disruption. This resilience feels reassuring. Even when things change, something stable remains beneath. As you rest now, the body enters this state of continuity. Even as thoughts fade and awareness dissolves, deeper rhythms continue. Breathing, circulation, repair. You are supported whether you are aware or not. The Milky Way also teaches letting go. Stars do not cling to specific positions. Gas does not resist movement. Dust does not demand form. Everything flows, adjusts, and settles again. Letting go does not mean loss. It means alignment. As the mind releases its final attachments to wakefulness, sleep arrives not as a disappearance, but as a return to a simpler state. A state before effort, before evaluation, before intention. The galaxy exists in that state continuously. As awareness softens further, even these reflections fade. Meaning dissolves into quiet feeling. Feeling dissolves into stillness. There is nothing left to learn, nothing left to hold. The Milky Way continues its slow rotation, unchanged by attention, unaffected by observation. Stars burn quietly. Light drifts patiently. Balance remains. And you, having absorbed these lessons without effort, are free to rest completely. Resting within understanding that does not require thought, held by the quiet wisdom of the galaxy. Remain exactly as you are. Your body is completely supported now, breathing slow and quiet. There is no need to listen anymore. The words no longer ask to be followed. They are simply here, moving softly in the background, like distant starlight fading into the dark. The journey through the Milky Way is complete, not because it has ended, but because there is nowhere left to go. The galaxy continues its slow rotation, unseen and unobserved. Stars burn quietly. Dust drifts. Gravity holds everything together without effort, without awareness. Nothing changes suddenly. Nothing asks for attention, and you are allowed to rest. The vastness that once surrounded you now feels distant, softened, absorbed. The sense of scale has done its work. Perspective has widened. Urgency has faded. What remains is calm. The Milky Way does not need to be imagined anymore. It no longer needs form or light or motion. Its presence has already settled into the body, into the nervous system, into the quiet rhythm of breath. You do not need to remember any of it. Sleep does not require memory. It does not require understanding. It does not require intention. Sleep arrives when nothing is being held. Breathing continues on its own, slow and steady. Each breath feels complete, without needing to be deeper or longer. The body has found its natural rhythm. Muscles are fully relaxed now. The face is soft. The jaw is loose. The space behind the eyes is warm and heavy. Awareness drifts gently, no longer anchored to words or images. Thoughts dissolve before they form. Sensations blur into comfort. There is no longer a sense of time passing. Minutes lose their shape. Moments dissolve into one another. The idea of next fades away. This is not emptiness. This is rest. The galaxy continues without you watching it. It does not pause. It does not accelerate. It remains exactly as it has always been, turning slowly through space, patient and steady. and you are allowed to stop turning for a while. The body knows how to sleep. It has done this countless times before. It does not need guidance. Nothing needs to be managed tonight. Nothing needs to be resolved. Nothing needs to be completed. The mind releases its final attachment to awareness, not suddenly, but gently, like light fading at dusk. If any thoughts appear, they pass. If any sensations arise, they soften. If nothing appears at all, that is perfect. Sleep does not announce itself. It does not arrive with a signal. It simply settles. The Milky Way remains vast, calm, and indifferent to wakefulness or rest. It continues whether you are aware of it or not. This indifference is comforting. Nothing depends on you right now. You are free to let go completely. Breathing remains slow. The body is still. The mind is quiet. The journey dissolves into silence. Sleep now.